What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast, and today on the show, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Gav episode 50, the finale of the show. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
Another year and season in the books.
Yeah, isn't it crazy to think this is the third Kamen Rider show that we've finished on the main podcast? Obviously, we watched more on the Patreon, but the third concurrent season we've been running this podcast for.
Yeah, I make jokes about time is meaningless as I get older.
Yeah.
Years and lengths of time mainly are just oh, that seems like yesterday, but it was forever ago. And so effectively, so if it's 50 weeks a season, we're probably 6 weeks off of doing this, starting our fourth year as humans, correct?
Yeah, we started a little bit late after the start of Geats, and we had to catch up. But yeah, we're roughly 3 years deep into doing this as humans. Yeah,
that seems crazy that we've once again talked about one of these absurd TV shows for this long.
I know, it's wild.
like a large chunk of your and my lifetimes together.
Yeah,
is just, hey, let's watch silly people in silly costumes fight silly monsters.
That makes my heart happy to think about that, right? I feel like I have fended off adulthood successfely by doing this so long. Yeah, through the power of Power Rangers and now Kamen Rider, and I feel like we're doing something right here, you know? You and me being big idiot kids and forming a little community full of big idiot kids that like to have fun and watch these TV shows. It's very heartwarming.
There you go. It's as heartwarming as the dumb shows are. Most of the
Exactly.
Not like that bullshit O's. It's not like that dark timeline of bad friendship, but otherwise happy times.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to think about the darkness that is O's today. But instead we want to talk about the brightness that is Kamen Rider Gav. Let's jump into talking about Gav because we have a lot to talk about, and we've got a bunch of emails as well today. So I want to make sure we get through those. So we'll dive right into the fun here. So episode 50 of Gav, the finale. We've been talking about kind of the lead up to this and kind of how the storylines are converging and where they were going. I think maybe for start, let's walk through all the characters and kind of talk through what they got up to in this episode and sort of their ending, what they're doing. I think that's maybe the best way to approach this.
So just segment everybody out into
I think so, yeah, because it's sort of is the main cast kind of splits off and does their own thing this whole episode, right? So I think first let's talk about Shoma and Longo because they have the big main fight of the episode. And the majority, I think, of that, it starts off at the very beginning because they confront
part that usually starts at the beginning, ends at the end.
It does. That is how things go.
The in between is in between.
It's a fight to the finish. Yep. But no, so Longo confronts Shoma in the amusement park, and I really liked this encounter between the two of these guys because Longo is just sort of kind of matter of fact, hey, you helped with Boca, but you're still kind of in my way, so I'm gonna eliminate you. And this is kind of it's all about business. It's all about me taking power. And then Shoma kind of is have you ever been happy in your whole life?
Yeah, Shoma had I guess we'll call him his one-ups on his brother today for the finale and stuff.
Yeah.
But basically the whole intro speech was Longo being hey, you've always been kind of garbage. You've always been in my way. Now I'm going to get you out of my way, blah, 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 blah. And Shoma just blunt, matter of fact, no real anger, rage in it necessarily, was just basically have you always just been a piece of shit like this? What are we doing here?
Yeah, totally. We get the 100% full on reveal that Longo did kill the father, which we kind of knew. It seemed that way. They were hinting at that before, but he admits it here. And basically he just straight up says, like, anyone gets in my way, I'm going to get rid of them. I'm going to kill them. Um, and Shoma,
his best path forward for all the things he wanted in life was
yeah,
had little baby walls, and all those little baby walls had to be stopped and destroyed.
just one by one, slowly. I thought that was an interesting. I think Longo maybe as a villain ends up being not super interesting because there's no hidden depth there, really, right? Like he's just sort of evil, kind of from the core, and you never get any like redeeming quality of him. Like there's never he was never like a good kid that got corrupted. Like we assume that was the case, but we only know him from the very first evil act he did when he killed his father, right? But the idea of like stopping a villain mid villain speech to go, man, you're just a really unhappy dude. Like, like I think it's great. And it's awesome because Shoma even points out, like, you and I are alike. Like we both are the product of our circumstances. And kind of like his point is like, look where you went and look where I went, right? Like I went and found family and you destroyed yours. And congratulations, here we are. We're gonna fight now. um and I think Showman had some pretty fire lines here at the beginning because if I remember, he says like something along the lines of like, yeah, if you're gonna force me to fight today, I'm not gonna lose.
We hit him with that, and I think it was closer towards the end of the fighting than the beginning of the fighting, at least like in the timeline of my notes.
Uh-huh.
But we haven't heard him do the either stop taking dark confections today, or I'll kill you, or I'll kick your teeth in, or whatever else.
Yeah.
I think it was closer towards the end. Like Longo was beating the shit out of him. Like obviously we know Shoma's not dying today, but it was like that tier of like all your best stuff doesn't work against me. What are we gonna do about this now? And Shoma was like, it was basically like, I have happiness and friendship and everything, and you have none of this. So for the very last time, either you're going to stop this now or I'm going to kick your teeth in. And he got to do like his starter speech from all the way in the beginning of the show, like back as a wraparound as the ending of the show, basically.
Yeah, that was easily the best part of that fight. Like, I love that he got to kind of morph it to the current the current situation. I love that he literally said for the last time. That's awesome. And then of course, yeah, it's not stop making dark confections. It's like leave humanity alone, or I'm gonna destroy you. That was so cool. And the fact that he does that not henshined too, I thought was really cool too. He got to do it as Shoma, which felt extra special before he then henshined and kicked his ass.
I thought that like that. I guess we're probably gonna jump around a lot, so we'll do it that way. It's fine.
We for sure are. Yeah.
I thought it was cool that like of all the things, like there was the mid of their fight was he basically had RC car versions of each Gachizo, which I don't know where that came from. Like I felt like I don't think I missed that somehow over the past year.
Well, I think the mechanism for the sword was put a Gochizo in the little RC car. So I think that's what it was. It was just that's how the sword works.
Okay, yeah. So like he had a little RC car of every Gochizo, which I think is another like great toy that they should sell if they don't yet. Like make little like Hot Wheel Gochizo kind of deals.
Yep.
But like to that, like he ripped through every. It was almost like a clip show vibe almost, not for any bad reason, but it was. Hey, here's every form I ever had. I'm going to do all of them against you just because we're going to do our final battle here. And we would like remind everyone last time.
So well, and that kicked off because we find out also that Longo has like a power we've never seen. He's got these wings that pop out and like seemingly destroy the Gochizo for Shoma's like ultimate form, like the over form.
Yeah, like they all the little dead babies all just flew out.
Yeah. So then to kind of combat Longo's new power, he busts out all the Gochizo that he's ever made. And yeah, we get the like clip show, quick succession, every form we've ever seen. That was cool. I really liked that sort of trip down memory lane, if you will.
Yeah, and then so that tied to the the little speech of like, hey, here was my first threat. I'm bringing it back at the end here was a nice tie to it.
Yeah.
The fact that the final form that he actually like won with was just base ass Gav.
Yep.
Like it wasn't like I'm bringing out like ice cream or marshmallow or chocolate or like super final form that we knew was like hard, like amazingly kick ass and everything. It was just I am base ass me. This is who I am, and like that's how he won, which I just thought was a nice like. It was almost like we like went in reverse, like a movie would do like the flash backwards.
Uh-huh.
It's almost like we just like traveled back in time, but he's still like the powerful version of him, and he's like, here was my whole year this year, but I just need to be me, and I'm gonna kill you as me to straighten you right out.
Yeah. It felt very symbolic too. Like it was like the 100%, affirmation of Shoma's resolve. He finally is, has come to complete terms with who he is, his heritage, who he is now, in his humanity and his friendships and what he cares about. He's no longer like conflicted, this, like weird, kind of a part of the stomach family person. Like he knows what he believes in, he knows what he's protecting, and he is who he is. So then like, oh, he's unlocked this ultimate power that is just him. It's just him doing his thing. And that was very cool.
I thought that was cool, and then I feel like it doesn't happen a ton, but it probably has before. The fight gave the vibe of we were doing this all day because so much of it started during daytime, and when like the end of it was like pitch black night. So it's definitely like they were fucking around for hours.
That was the next thing I had written down for sure, was that it's very clear the way they shoot it that this fight lasted all day long. And then at one point, like you said, we cut back to them. It's pitch black, and there's like no music, and they're very clearly like exhausted. Like the hits aren't really like hitting as hard as they were before, but they're falling over stuff, and like you can tell they're like, we've been at this for hours and hours. That was a neat thing. Like they're pretty equally matched here and just sort of slugging it out. That gave the fight a bit more, air about it for sure. I will say, it was a good fight with all of the switching forms. I don't know that it was like my favorite fight that we've seen throughout the series. My favorite one is still probably like one of the first one where like Boca, kind of like revealed his true power, and we realized that he could be like Neil and then make everyone fall to the ground and stuff. But this one is pretty epic for sure. We had like crazy fights like going around the Ferris wheel and the roller coaster. They really like try to take advantage of the amusement park setting for sure.
We just like, especially like the at one point we went back to the crazy ATV chug along vehicle.
Yeah,
it was like driving the ATV on the tracks, which I thought was just like at least a more fun way to bring back like, hey, don't forget we had a car this year or an ATV this year. But it was cool that like it was just big. I mean, obviously they can edit and work around it, but it was basically just big enough to fit on the tracks. So it's just like, hey, I'm just gonna drive down the tracks now, like a roller coaster car.
Just lock in, yeah. And then of course he defeats Longo, and there's like feathers everywhere for some reason, and then he leaves a bag of gummies like as like a memorial. And that was awesome. That felt like a real like F you to Longo. But yeah, then that's the demise of Longo, and that is the ending of the fight there that Shoma performed. And then of course we get kind of like what Shoma's doing at the end. Which go ahead.
Let's do everyone else's
and then talk about the
main
ending
stories.
Okay.
Make a hard cut at the time progressed line, and then we'll do the time progressed line.
Sounds good.
But
okay.
But at least as a base statement, we'll talk about Rakia next, because these two statements go back into each other, kind of deal.
Okay.
The best prediction that I, and then with your assistance, that we crafted into how the show was going to end was it's just going to be a base ass ending, and the show is just going to end. And I feel like that was like the main vibe of today. We're just like, we finish it. But to that, we're going to do Rakia next, because I think it was me specifically first, and then you said like that's definitely like his hero story arc. My best guess was Rakia stays inside the dark world and just
Yeah.
trapped himself into self-sacrifices. And Rocky's whole main thing today was basically, all right, you know what? I'm in here. I'm blowing up all these fucking doors. No matter what happens, no one's ever leaving here again.
Right. You know, that was I'm conflicted about Rakia's portion of the story because I do think it's very like in character that he would self-sacrifice in that way. I think that that makes sense for him. And you know, it's very in character too that he like finds himself in the room with doors and like someone else might try to come up with like a cutesier solution, but he's just like, F it, I'm just blowing all these doors up right now. I think that fits pretty well. But then like it kind of makes him look like a dummy because he shoots out the platform he's standing on as he's like destroying all these doors and just kind of falls, you know, to his seeming death. But then turns out he's not dead. We'll talk about that at the end. But like that was weird in that it like they kind of paint it like he killed himself and that's the sacrifice, and then we find out he didn't. So it was kind of weird why that scene even existed, and like I said, it kind of made him look like a little bit of a chump that it happened in the first place. But
like, I guess the main thing that they could possibly, like, I mean, obviously, I kind of assumed there was more to it at the back end, but whatever. But like, he basically like he nukes the room. You see him like slow falling into ether, basically, and he's like, that sucks. Like he's done the whole year.
I do like it.
And
You got to say that sucks one more time. Yeah.
Yep. They all get to do their thing one last time. And then basically it was just like, well, as long as Komo's happy, or like maybe I'll get to see my brother again. He was just like, that's fine. He's like, I did my part. I stopped the bullshit. I helped everybody. If this was my swan song where I got too crazy with door blowing up and I killed myself and this is where I go, hey, you know what? I did the best I could and I'll go see my brother now. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of almost wish that he had died because, you know, that would have made a lot of sense, right? His whole thing was his brother and guilt over his brother and you know, trying to avenge his brother. Everything kind of centered around Kamal. So like he has this like kind of beautiful moment where he's like, this sucks, but if I get to see my brother, like fine. And then we like snatch that away from him. And that kind of like, oh, that sort of like defeats his whole hero's journey here a little bit. But you know, they're probably going to use him in the V cinema, so whatever. I think that's the underlying thing in a lot of this episode is some of the weirder decisions I think are specifically because they needed to leave threads so they could do like the stage show and so they could do the V cinema. You know, they have more stories to tell in this world, so they had to like leave gaps for where that's gonna go.
Yeah, and like it's just that, like you said, it's that really weird thing of like, if you're not really gonna pull the trigger on what this is supposed to be, I don't know if there's necessarily a better way to do the ending other than the obvious of just like, hey, just let him go through the last door as it blows up or something. But like, this is a super old spoiler of a random TV show. So this is going to be a spoiler for Stranger Things season 2, I think.
Okay.
It might, I think it was 2. It might have been 2. Almost definitely 2. So the end of Stranger Things season 2 is when, maybe it's 3. It's whenever when Hopper dies in. And Hopper writes Ella a note that was like, I love you like a daughter. You made me help me find life, blah, 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 blah. And it's this big, like, heart-wrenching, rip your soul out speech. Like, she balls, obviously, in the show. I bawled at home because I was like, this is fucking deep. This is awesome. And then they hand wave it away in the little like preview for the next season immediately, or it was like right in the teasers for the next year when they started coming out of like, look, Hopper's still alive. And it's one of those things where like, I really feel like it just hand waves any character growth or any like situation with what happened when there's no actual stakes. Like you have this moment, and if like 10 seconds later you realize like, oh, he didn't really die, like what the fuck does any of that stuff matter then at that point? And like
exactly.
And like the Stranger Things Hopper dad vibe isn't nowhere near close to like the happy gavv Rakia story that we told here. But it's the same thing. Like you have him close his eyes and say, this sucks, but I'm gonna go see my brother. Like I killed myself for the better of my new friends who live on Earth. and then 30 seconds post credits or mid credits, since that's how they do it for Kamen Rider, like he's there and he's chilling and he's like, yeah, this is okay. It's not that
Yeah.
bad. And,
Yeah.
and it's not like he's in like Ghostville and saying like, oh, I'm here. This isn't that bad. He's just alive and chilling.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm stuck here. I can't go see my friends anymore. But shit could be worse. It's not really that big of a deal to me anymore.
Here's how, if we want to keep Rakia alive, which clearly seemed like that was the goal here, here's how I would have written this ending. And it wouldn't have changed too much. But I would have had him blow up the door world just like he did. I would have had him fall just like he did. And as he's falling, kind of he does his little "this sucks" thing. He talks about Kamal. He resolves that he's gonna die, and then at the last moment, I would have a door which is also falling come open, and he falls through it. So then he ends up back in Earth because he happened to fall through the door, and then you would just have like Shoma happen upon him, falling out of a door, and Shoma would be like, "Come on, man, why are you laying here? Let's go. We got things to do." And then they're just like happily together on Earth still.
that I mean, maybe not to that specific point, but I was half expecting the fall to be fall to Earth and like Shoma happened to look up and catch him, or a fall to Earth, land in the water, or anything that wasn't just like into the void, I guess. Because when you make it seem like you're going into the void, like he lands on what seems like just Granootville land world.
Yeah.
Like whatever the main streets are where his story started at. And if you're gonna do that, like don't do any of it. Like, or show him at least landing there or something. Like I don't know. It was just kind of silly, I guess.
Yeah, I think the gap there is just what's weird and what's confusing. Like the no explanation for how we get from free falling to your planet to sitting on a park bench reading the newspaper. There's no explanation for how we make that jump. It just happens. And I think that's my biggest problem with the finale, honestly. That moment was just like, this is a weird disconnect here. How we got to from point A to point B.
Yeah, so all the basic little, like all the stories wrap up fine, and it's a nice, like I said weeks ago, it was just a nice 50 episode story about a little alien kid who likes candy. But like any leftover stakes, I feel like were just negated if things were still out there, which seems kind of weird overall. And like, I'm gonna assume V Cinema thing again, but there's one more V Cinema thing that I feel like is coming up too. So I'm gonna again guide us to the next group of people.
Yep, please do.
to make my next group of I'm gonna call them complaints, but not complaints. So the main story wraparound whatever for Sachika and Shoma's uncle, the candy maker. They kind of hang out. They're talking about being masked riders. Shoma does cool things. And the uncle happens to look at Shoma's snack book and looks at all the things he likes and kind of talks about his sister at the same time. The uncle cracks the case basically and goes, wait, are we both referring to the same woman? Like, is his mom my sister effectively? Or, he says, what's her name?
Yeah, he
asked or he said, or does Shoma ever say her name or blah? And Sachika just like stares off of the computer because she's on Twitter or some other bullshit. And she's like, that's really a conversation for you and Shoma. Yeah. And she kind of drops it and looks away, which already makes it obvious. And then we'll start doing like the super end stuff too, because I feel like that's the only thing that Sachika really did today.
Yeah, so, I mean, like her story was essentially like she opened the series running a successful business and meeting a new friend, and she ends the series still running that same successful business and still having friends.
Yeah, and the new friend she found still works there, and the weirdo that asked her for research all the time still comes to visit all the time as a fake employee. And yeah, so that part was all like the other stuff they did with that in the end credits was cute and fun, and it goes somewhere. But from the main core of it, so Shoma, Brownhouse Rider kicks whatever Longo, fade to black. We fast forward 3 months later, and everyone's bullshitting. They're acting like friends. Shoma goes to visit his uncle. They talk about the mom, but Shoma calls her Miss whatever her first name was. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And his uncle is like, yeah, she would have dug it because you're trying your hardest and like you're making basically Shoma becomes a snack maker because he loves snacks. So he wants to share them with everybody. Everyone has different opinions on different things, but he shows his uncle, and his uncle's like, yeah, like Miss whoever would have thought this was great because I know how much determination you put into this and you're trying your hardest. And they both look at each other. And at that point, I was like, I don't know why Shoma is calling her Miss whoever instead of mom. And the fact that they left the conversation of is mom and sister the same person empty like that, it's not huge, but it's kind of like when I bitched at like, will we ever see Kudo's dad again? And then will we know Gotchard's dad and all that bullshit?
Yeah.
It's almost the same vibe of that, just weirder, because I guess just me personally, I wouldn't know if they had the conversation and they're just ignoring it. I wouldn't know if they never had the conversation and there's a silent understanding of what's going on there. But like they played it the way I feel like is the worst of all the way to play it, all the ways to play it, and it's basically they didn't do anything. Shoma's just says like, "Hey, do you think your sister would have thought this was cool?" And his uncle says like, "Yeah, if my sister would have known how much work you put into this, she would have loved it." But there's like no direct nudge whatsoever of any sort of like familial conversation. And again, like unless it's going to be in the movie, which I kind of doubt it is because it doesn't seem like that important of a thing anymore. It just seems like a really weird way of all the stories to wrap up to not really wrap that one up at all, other than like Shoma like snacks now and makes snacks like his uncle does.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not how I would have written that, I don't think, but I think I'm okay with that being the ending. Like I'm not upset at it. Because like you said, it is very clear that the uncle figures it out. There's kind of no doubt that he knows the situation. The question I guess remains whether like Shoma knows whether he knows or not. But the conversation that they have is very much like, I don't know. It's kind of like the classic like Hollywood trope, right? Where like two characters both know a thing and they kind of talk around it, and you kind of know both of them know, but like they're not really saying it because reasons, I guess. Whatever. It might be emotions. It might be like protecting each other, but whatever. So I think the talk around it was good enough that like the uncle gets to like kind of be the fatherly figure to Shoma that he clearly wants to be, and Shoma still gets that from him. So I didn't feel like it was too bad. It was an interesting choice to not full on reveal it, I guess, but maybe they couldn't figure out a way to write that that in, because you kind of make a whole scene about that, right? You gotta like have Shoma reveal it and think it's going to be a shock, and you got to have the shopkeeper reveal that like, oh, it's not a shock at all. I already had figured this out, and I'm happy to meet you. And maybe that's a longer scene than what they had time for. I don't know, but
see, but like to that point, I feel like you don't have to do any of the extra stuff you're saying right now. All I'm like to that point, like I feel like the ending we have now works the same exact way as it did, where Shoma shows his uncle the sweets, and instead of saying "Did Miss So and So," all Shoma has to do is say, "Do you think Mom would have liked this?"
Yeah, that would have been better. You're right.
Like it's just literally changing the pronoun that he used to explain the familial person.
Yeah,
that he wants to know about the sweets. Like all you had to do to me is say, "Do you think Mom would have liked this?" And then Uncle could have said like, "Yeah, if she would have known how hard you worked on it, she obviously would have said it was delicious." And then you can assume the whole conversation that they don't have to write, but you just know they had it and they established like, "Hey, we're family, we're together."
Well, and we have the perfect 3-month time skip for them to have had that conversation off screen.
Right. They could have had because and mainly because they put a time on it. If they would have pretended like it was the next day, sure, I get it, or they did whatever. But if he was asking questions before the finale and we're saying like a good chunk of a year went by, and obviously he still goes to talk to his uncle all the time, like I feel like that conversation would have came up, and just saying mom instead of lady, I just feel like fixes that whole problem.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. That would have been way better. Yeah. and would have been a cute little reveal at the end there, just like, have the whole try the sweets, have him be like, oh, like, okay, yeah, this is okay, but I like the other one better, and kind of go through the whole thing that they did, and then just end it with, like you're saying, like, do you think mom would have liked it though? Like, yeah, that would have been far superior.
Because I mean, it's what he's asking anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess that's the silly part to me. Like that's specifically the question he's asking him, and his uncle is answering it as if he said mom instead of Miss whoever.
Yeah.
But they're both just not saying the word mom, which I think is, I don't know. For me, it's silly, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to still keep him in the dark. Like, from Shoma's perspective, like if he thinks that he's actually keeping this guy in the dark about this, it's like, why at this point? You're not really protecting him from anything now, because like the threat is gone. So like, what would be the reason for not telling him? It doesn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a bit weird. Let's rewind back and talk about Hanto, because he's off doing his own fight for this whole episode. And actually quite like kind of what happens here. So Hanto is facing off against the duo of Jeeb and Lascelles, and basically right off the bat in this fight, Hanto is kind of like, yeah, do we need to do this? why don't you guys just head on back to Granute World and let's just not?
Yeah, like, and I feel like that's like, for him, I feel like that's huge character growth.
Yeah,
there was no real temper this time. Like his thing was, all this fighting is dumb. We've all lost people. All I want to do is take all these anthropresses back. Like, let's not make this a thing today. Let's just walk away and let it go. And then Jeeb and Lascelles don't want to have that timeline, so away we went. But they had the ultimate out of all the people that had these fights.
Especially with Hanto. Like, Hanto was the one who was the most at the beginning. He was the most cut and dry about, like, if you're a Granute, you should be dead, right? Like, you're not a person. You are a Granute monster. I don't care about you. You can't have emotions. You can't be a living, thinking being. Now to this episode where he sees kind of how distraught the two of these people are, and he looks at them and he's like, you know what, you guys, let's not do this. Like, I understand that you guys are feeling the way you are, and like he sees them as people, which is massive for him from like where he started.
I guess I didn't even think about that part of it, but that's true. It wasn't fuck these weirdo Granutes, I hate you all. It was, to your point, like you just said, hey, other living beings that kind of seem like humans, like, this is not the way today. Let's be adult about this and just kind of walk off and say bye, and we're good.
But Jeeb, of course, says like, hey, that's a great idea, but not today. That's not what's happening right now.
Because he upset his girl.
Yep.
Lascelles was so distraught about losing her dad and everything else, which is, I guess, the theme of the show, where, like we said other times, it's usually like broken families ish, like there's a mom or a dad missing. At this point, like, everyone's just missing family members.
Yeah.
And Hanto's like, just no more of this. Like, we all lost. You're missing a dad. You're missing like 3 brothers, a sister, God knows who else. Let's all just chill today. And Lascelles was like, no, we're gonna go.
He tried to fight you. He tried to end the cycle of loss, and it didn't work. The fight between the 3 of these, was fine. I liked the 2-on-1 aspect. Some of that was pretty good. Like, he, I think at one point, like, froze them in place so he could punch them, which was pretty cool. There's some good little moments between the fighting, but ultimately we see that Jeeb sacrifices himself to kind of protect Lascelles, and he has this like cathartic moment as he's dying, and he speaks to his sister kind of in the great beyond, and he says basically like, now I know how you were feeling like when you died, which really then you realize like, oh, that's sort of what he's been chasing this whole time, is like the power to be able to protect someone that he cares about. He couldn't do it with his sister did it with him, and now he gets to sacrifice himself and protect Lascelles, and that's kind of like, he's dying, but he's also like kind of fulfilling this whole thing he's been working towards this whole time. So kind of a neat end for Jeeb. Who would have suspected he would have had a good ending as one of the villains?
Yeah, like I guess we'll call it a happy ending, at least in the situations that were doable there.
Yeah.
Like his was effectively fine. And with how much Lascelles cried after his murdering, I guess we'll call it. I guess my main takeaway with that is I guess she really liked him all along. There was always I feel like there was always that weird, like, more so towards the beginning of it, that weird vibe of like, is she just using him? Does she just like broken toys? Does she just like this? And really just the whole thing was like, hey, she actually liked him. She's devastated that he's dead. She was actually on his side the whole time.
I think she came around to him. Like I think maybe initially it was like, hey, it's this plaything, and I like that he's broken, and I don't really, it's whatever. Like I'll cast him aside whenever I want to. But then I think as they went on, and we kind of saw it there, where he, like, the first time that he reacted differently to her than she was expecting, he wasn't like the whipped puppy. He was like, yeah, I expected you to say that, kind of like marched away. The first time that happened, I think, like, was the turning point where she's like, oh, maybe there's more to this guy than I thought. And yeah, like you said, all the way to the end here, where like clearly, like, she loved him at the end, whatever love looks like for her, and was kind of in it to the end with him. And then she ends up getting stranded on Earth, which I think is interesting. Like all the doors blow up, and she's just sitting on a dock, just crying at the end with nowhere to go. 3 months later.
I guess that's doing without a timeline. Maybe again, this will be a V Cinema deal, and
yeah,
we'll find some stuff out.
Ultimately, she has like kind of a really sad story at the end here, right? Like she loses her whole world. She loses her, her husband, which we find out that she loves. She loses her father, and then she's just trapped in a foreign world with nothing to do. Hope you.
She backed the wrong pony, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I guess overall, realistically, most of her timeline's not her fault. Like, it's not her fault that her dad's the president and was world takeovery, but she should have dated someone better, because this is what happens.
Yep.
Or married someone better, I guess.
I hope she enjoys having to find work on Earth. hope she enjoys joining the lower class.
Well, there's a nice business where they help people find happiness and stuff, so maybe they can
and bring her in
and help out. And
and yeah, speaking of business,
that'd be a funnier movie if like the actual like plot of the movie is like Lascelles wants to become a functioning Granute on a human world, and the adventures and tribulations of that.
That would be pretty funny. You could do a whole little series on making Lascelles human.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And then we'll talk about the ending here then. So we have our big end, we have our 3-month jump, and then we kind of get to see what everyone's doing. So we talked about Shoma making sweets, taking them to his uncle to try out. Shoma specifically talks about wanting to make basically, like, instead of dark confections, he wants to make like bright confections. He wants to make snacks that make everyone happy and bring the world together.
I get what he's doing. I guess the opposite of dark confections would be bright confections, if not light itself. But just silly. I mean, it's fine, but it's a silly name and all that kind of stuff.
I think the interesting thing, and again, I think this is one of those things that they specifically highlight because they have additional story coming out in like the V Cinema and stuff. They talk about all the Granutes that got stranded on Earth. So everyone who is like through a door when the doors got destroyed is apparently stranded here on Earth. And now Shoma wants to make these treats to like to bridge the gap and bring humans and Granutes together. And obviously those Granutes still need to be around. So Shoma has somebody to fight, I'm guessing, in the upcoming movie, right? We still need to have a few Granutes in play that are mad about things so they can try to punch Shoma and give us 90 minutes of fun.
Yeah, we need Granutes in play. one of Shoma's deliveries on his route was he tested a door that he knew went to Granute Land
Yeah.
with cupcakes, because obviously it was, hey, I want to share these with Rakia. I want to go get them. So I guess with Rakia stuck on the other side of doors too, talking it out, this seems like it's almost specifically has to be the plot of the movie now, where I'm sure some of the Granutes will want to stay, some want to go back, some are mean, some are angry, whatever. But it seems like they're gonna re-bridge the door one last time to either bring Rakia over or be like, hey, do you want to come for real? You can if you want to. If not, no big deal. But that seems like it almost has to be the thing.
Yeah, I think so. With the way that they specifically left things, I think that makes sense. They also do like an offhanded comment. Rocky is reading the newspaper and says like, well, the election finished or whatever. Like he points out that we have a new Granute president. We don't know who it is, but he definitely like makes it known that the election finished, which could be, a tease for something they're going to tell us later too.
Yeah, like I think the most questionable future kind of deal, I guess, is Rakia and the leftover Granutes and what all happens with that stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
Like that was all interesting. I'm trying to read Granute text, but that was not translated for us. So I guess nobody knows who's coming over, who got elected. I do think it was kind of funny that while Rakia was on his old man bench, one of his Gochizos are still there.
Yeah.
And I guess he was still talking to him, and he's like, well, you're here, so I'm not super lonely. But yeah, like, I do kind of miss the other half of the world and my friends kind of deal.
I love the idea that he is in a giant world filled with his kind, with other Granutes. And like, from what we've seen, there are other Granutes that are just like regular, normal human beings that aren't bad people, that weren't hooked on dark confections, just like regular folk. And he's like, man, at least I've got you, weird Gachizo that's here. Like, yeah, you have you and your entire population. Like, you could probably go meet somebody. You could settle down. What are we doing? He acts like he's on like the Castaway Island for some reason.
I think Gochizo's Wilson.
Yeah, but he's just sitting in like kind of like a busy public square. Like there's like a candy stand behind him and stuff. Like it's just a normal world. Obviously, he misses his friends. I don't want to belittle that, but it's just funny that he's just like, man. All right, well, I won't get lonely because you're here.
You're the only one that gets me.
Yeah, you're the only one who's seen me in human form. So. Yeah, so that's Rakia. That's kind of what the state of the world is, I guess. They've left things in. I think that touches on all of the characters' fates throughout the episode here. Mostly, like I said, kind of siloed off, like having their own fights. Like you would think a finale like, oh, everybody's gonna come together. There's gonna be a big giant fight. But no, we mostly did that in previous episodes, and this was like everyone kind of handling their own business separately, which was interesting.
Oh, and then we forgot the most important thing of all. The official Kamen Rider slams into other Kamen Rider, and they have their... I don't know how I forgot about that. It's always my favorite part.
That's
but
true.
that was the last thing that happened in this fine episode.
Yeah, and we find out in that the Zets Rider, whenever he helps someone out, he there's a UFO that shows up and tries to kill him or something like that.
Yeah, or he got electrocuted or something.
Yeah, little hard to say, but gonna be some shenanigans, I think, in this series.
Like, I mean, I guess like at this point, like maybe he helps somebody and that's when he gets sent into the dream world and that's what the UFO does. I mean, at this point we're a few scant days away, so
yeah, we'll find out.
But yeah, like of all the little handoff things, I think I like this one. This was one of my top ones, I guess. I haven't seen a bunch now, but I kind of like this one because they both just like giggled and slammed into each other. It made a fancy new Zets Gochizo.
Yeah.
And then they explain, Zets explained like, oh, I help people and then I get attacked by a UFO. And Shoma is like, oh, that's weird. He's like, do you want to do anything about this? And he's like, no. It's my turn now. I got this. Don't worry about it. or he worded it in a way much like when Shoma was like, and for the last time, here is my I'm going to kick you in the teeth speech. Like it was, I feel like one of the more fourth Wally handoffs. Because I think Zet's even said it twice, where it was a phrase that was basically specifically like, "It's my turn now. I got this. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, he says, "I'll take it from here," which is very on the nose.
Yeah.
In a really fun way. I also liked that. I appreciated how kind of fourth wall breaky it was. Because it, can't get much more fourth wall breaky than that. The Zetsuko Chizo pops out and the character literally says, "I'll take it from here."
I'm the common rider now. Bye, Shoma.
Yeah, exactly. But it was cute and it was a fun little scene. Both of them got to show some personality. I always look forward to those little handoff scenes. They're really fun. And then Hanto is writing about the Gochizo incident, the dark confection incident, or whatever he calls it. So he's still doing a journalism, which is fun. And then Shoma rides off into the sunset on his motorcycle. We get to see the bike come out, and
the official motorcycle, and he's ripping around.
Yep, and he gets to ride off, which is pretty cool. Like, we got to see him on the bike to finish things out. He calls himself a confectioner of happiness at the very end, which is the most Shoma thing in the world. So that was the finale. So how'd you feel? How'd you feel about the finale?
Basically, kind of like I said, it just ended.
Yeah, yeah.
All things considered, like I have no complaints about this season. It was the most solid of all the seasons we've watched. Like all the seasons I've watched with you, I think this was the most like, this is a full story. We're going to handle everything, and everything was basically taken care of.
Yep.
But it's just so weird that like the big part of the last fight was basically just like a speech or two of, "You're miserable, and if you would have been happy, if you would try to find real happiness, you'd be okay right now." And like that was the extent of the speech. It was a super extended battle, and basically of like all the flashy moves that could have been done, Shoma was just basically like, "Fuck you, it's over now," and just like roundhouse kicked him in the face and killed him. So
Yeah.
like, and like to that, and like to all the other points, like all the stories just kind of stopped.
Yeah, totally.
And like,
or they like continued, right? Like, I mean, like Hanto's writing a story and he's still writing a story. Like, it's a sort of like life continued after this.
I guess that's more accurate. Or yeah, I guess that's a more accurate thing of like Gottschard had, "Wow, we're off to Chemiland and we're gonna make sure they're safe here, and what adventures are upcoming." And Shoma like murdered his final family member, saved the world ish from the Grenade threat, and then his next day was like, "Okay, back to work with Sachika, and I think I'm gonna start making sweets too. That sounds like fun." And just kind of like you said, it just kind of keeps going. It's just a thing,
which is kind of cute. I like how that goes. I think I agree with you. It's like this is not a perfect ending. It definitely had some really, I think, really good, really brilliant parts, and I think the biggest one of those for me was the Hanto thing, where he tried to talk them out of fighting. I think that was the coolest, most like brilliant character move for the show, and like was kind of like really someone understanding Hanto, I think, as a character. But there are other parts I didn't like as much. We talked through those, but I think overall it was a good ending for a great show. Is how I'll say it. Like it was not the perfect ending, but it was good enough, and it doesn't diminish the show from really being a great one. So that is Kamen Rider Gavv.
That was Kamen Rider Gavv.
Let's jump over. We did get some emails this week I want to talk about. So first up, Shade sent us a very long email. He warns us that it's very long here because the producer's blog was pretty long for this episode too. So I want to go through that stuff because there's some interesting tidbits in there. But our email address, if you are wondering, is cast@commonwritersucks.com. So again, that is cast@commonwritersucks.com if you want to send us in an email. Here is Shade's email. Shade says, "Hello everyone, Kamen Rider Gavv has finally ended its 50 episode run. There are lots of things to talk about, so let's get to the producer's blog first." This is from producer Naomi Takebi. Quote, "Thank you to everyone who supported Kamen Rider Gavv after the final episode. While there's still the intriguing V cinema trailer and the final stage, the TV series story has now concluded. When I thought about what kind of ending would be the best, I decided that I wanted a Kamen Rider to leave alone on his motorcycle. Shoma's eyes must be filled with a bright future. Thank you for the love and support. I feel like gavv was a collective effort. Thanks to the hard work of the cast, director's skilled direction, the script that captures the nuances of the heart, the innovative action team, and the individual strengths of each staff member. Especially since production was earlier than usual, many staff members were working on Kamen Rider for the first time with gavv. I'd be grateful if you could also send your support to the staff who have finished their battles. Sweets bring happiness. Gavv was a happy production. Please look forward to the flavors to come. That's awesome. I love that little ending. And yeah, we didn't even talk about. I mean, like we talked about throughout reviewing the show, but like amazing direction the whole time. The action was like head and shoulders above things we've seen before in previous series. Like it really knocked it out of the park in a lot of ways in this series. Moving on with the producer's blog. Apparently, during the filming of the final episode, Shoma's actor celebrated his birthday with the cast and crew. So he got a little birthday cake, which is very cute, and a notebook with messages from all the staff. Exactly 1 year ago, he also celebrated his birthday during the filming of episode 1. So that works out. The setting for the final battle between gavv and Longo is an amusement park. This place was chosen because the director wanted a colorful location that suits gavv's many color schemes, and also because it was a visually impactful environment to depict the aerial battle between gavv and Longo. Longo is based on Fafnir, a dragon from Norse mythology. The blog says that Longo's wings were present from the start when they were designing him, but they were reserved until the final episode. So I guess it's not that much of an ass pull, Shade says.
I mean...
Yeah,
sure.
It still is. You can say that all you want if you don't show them until the end. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. In this episode, we also saw Lazelle's full Granute form and Jeeb's demise. Jeeb was the last member of the Stomach family to survive along with Longo. This wasn't decided from the very start, but thanks to actor Ruito Koga's performance, they decided to keep him in the show to the very end. That's gotta feel good as an actor, like being so good at your job that they're like, you know what, we're not gonna kill you off. We're gonna keep you around. Like this is going so well.
You're gonna be best buds forever.
And then we get some more pictures meeting the new Kamen Rider from Zetz, Shoma riding off into the horizon, and now we say goodbye to the cast. That's the next section of the producer's blog, and everybody gets their flowers. All the cast members. First up is the voice actors for the Gochizos, Sakurai Koki and Tokiren Ayu. I think I probably butchered that name. But those are the two that I guess have been dubbing every single Gochizo and agent for the whole year. Every time a new Gochizo was introduced, they would come up with a different voice on the spot, and somehow were able to memorize every single voice for an entire year. So that's an impressive feat for sure. Next person to get their flowers is Honda Shuhei, who is Shoma's uncle. He appeared quite late in the series. He's always been warm and wonderful on set, just like his character. Then Lacelle gets her flowers. She's surrounded by the cast in the photo. The quote is, "She was chosen for the role in an audition when she was in her 3rd year of middle school, and is an actress who can rival adults when the cameras are rolling. After the filming wrapped, she spoke with tears in her eyes about feeling sad the show is ending." Koga Ruida, who played Jeeb, and Kawasaki Hoka, who played Shida, both got flowers together. Although Shida wasn't in the show a lot, they were there and were able to wrap up together in the end. It seems that writer Junko Komura always intended for Shida to show up at the end. And then Longo gets flowers. Actor Tsukamoto Takashi. On set, apparently, unlike his actual character in the show, he treated Shoma's actor like an older brother and watched over him closely as he grew throughout the year. That's very cute. So it's
something that I would assume that I would hope these people would do.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
Like obviously like acting and stuff like that, but since most of these the staff, I guess we'll call it, since they're all always like 16, 17, 18, and since we've established last week that Longo's been in the business for forever, I guess.
Yeah, long time.
The easiest timeline to put it. Like, I would hope at some point he'd be like, yeah, like I've been doing this for like 20 years. If this kid needs help, I'll step in if I have to and watch out for him. No big deal.
Yeah. And then we get to our main 4 cast getting their flowers. First up is Miyabe Nozomi, who is Sachika. And Sachika wrote a message. She said, "The past year I got to play Amane Sachika was an irreplaceable time for me. When I first got the role, I'm the complete opposite of a Gyaru, so I was filled with anxiety, wondering if I could do it. However, as I continued to face Sachika, I learned about my own weaknesses and strengths, and little by little, I began to love myself. I truly believe that Sachika helped me grow. The days I spent on set with Shoma, Hanto, and Rakia were so much fun, and I was sometimes supported, laughed, and cried. Each and every one of these experiences is a precious treasure, and I can't express how much encouragement fans have given me when they told me I love Sachika. Sachika will continue to live on screen, and she will continue to shine in my heart forever. I owe it all to you who supported me to be able to spend a year with Sachika. Thank you so much." Man, these are going to make me cry, aren't they? I can tell.
Get out of here.
Next up is Shoji Kohei, who played Rakia. And he's posing with Ram's suit actor, Toku. We've talked about Toku before. So Rakia is
before you do the next one, for whatever reason, at some point when you said about growing with Sachika, I thought that was shade saying like I watched Sachika grow and I grew with her and I had a moment. Like I had like a disconnect for a second. It was a funny story to me.
Oh, no, I wasn't trying to throw shade.
No, like shade the person.
Oh, okay. No, that was me. That was me saying that.
Yeah. I thought like shade the person. I had like a momentary lapse. I thought shade the person was like I watched Sachika grow and I grew as a person too. Like she was my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the actress talking about growing. Yes, yeah, okay, got it. Yeah. Good check. So this is Rakia's actor's message. Quote, "Thank you so much to everyone who supported Commodore Gav over the past year. As always, I only joined midway through, but I'm very happy to have been a part of this wonderful work and to have been able to fight for someone as Kamen Rider. Rakia will remain in Granute World. I'm sad that I can't be with Shoma and the others, but at the same time, there's an indescribable sense of understanding that I'll be living in a different world. Overall, I'm confident that I was able to end in a way that is true to Gav. I hope the Shoma and the others' story and way of life has reached everyone in some positive way. Kamen Rider will once again pass the baton to the next generation and to the children who watched on TV. Thank you for supporting our fight. Thanks to you that spark can be seen today and tomorrow. As a Kamen Rider, things I want to tell you. Enjoy your meals and sweets. Find joy in what you love. When someone does something for you, be sure to say thank you. I'm rooting for each and every one of you so that you can become someone's hero. See you again." That's freaking cute, Toby.
He should have said this sucks and then did the
He should have ended it that way. Yeah. Next up is Hanto. So this is Hino Yusuke, the actor that plays Hanto. He says, quote, "Thank you for supporting Commodore Gav for the past year. It was a truly happy time, as I could feel everyone's passion for Gav growing with each episode. I can't help but feel sad these days are coming to an end. However, what begins will eventually end. With every encounter, there will be a parting. With one more dazzling moment that cannot be returned," which is a reference to the first line in the opening theme song. "For you and us, I hope to be able to witness another such moment with you all in my heart. I'm filled with gratitude for this work and all the people I met through it. Through the role of Karakita Hanto, I will grow together with him, and by doing so, I will continue to work hard so that I can soar to greater heights and return to this world as a grown-up. Finally, I look forward to seeing everyone's happy smiles in the final stage, free from the worry of being turned into dark treats. Thank you so much to everyone who's watched the final episode." And then, of course, we get to Shoma, who is played by Hidekazu Chinen. He says, quote, "Thank you so much for everyone who supported Gav and look forward to watching it every week. Shortly before filming for Gav began, I approached the project while playing the character Shoma with producer Takebi's words in mind. I want to create a hero who can walk the path of people and children living in this era with strength and determination. Working with the world of gavv as envisioned by screenwriter Komura, facing new scripts every week, and discussing the challenges and joys of creating the show on set, the days of filming were truly intense and fulfilling. We received so much feedback every time the show aired, and the joy of reading through the comments and realizing that gavv was enjoyed by so many people became a treasured experience for me. There are many times when you hit obstacles you can't overcome, and many difficult and enjoyable times. I hope you'll suddenly remember gavv at those times. Of course, even while you're eating sweets. If you ever feel lonely, please come and visit us anytime, whether it's through watching the show or browsing our content. We'll always be waiting. May this work remain in your hearts. That's also very sweet.
They're all nice people.
Shade says there are a lot of these messages, but the email is super long already, and there's still things we have to cover. So I decided to only include the main 4. If you'd like to read the entire messages, Shade links it. And yeah, I know it's long, but I'm happy that we got to read those 4. That was nice to read those there. Shade says, as far as what I thought of the finale, I thought it was all right. The ending's not as grand as I'd like it to be, but it does fit the series' grounded slice of life vibe, so I don't have much problem with it. I'm seeing a lot of people saying that this was rushed, but I think this is one of the more well-paced writer finales. My only problem with the finale would be that they ended everything too openly. Like, it's very obvious that stuff is still going to happen after the show ends, so it felt a bit less like a finale. I feel like Geets handled this a bit better. Overall, the show is really good. Even at its worst, gavv is never not entertaining. 9 out of 10. Shade says, great series to start Kamen Rider if you're a beginner, a good contender for top 10 Kamen Rider of all time, possibly the best Reiwa era Kamen Rider. Now that that's done, let's get to some news. They, of course, have been teasing it this whole time and in the producer's blog, but the V Cinema has been announced. It's called Kamen Rider gavv Guilty Parfait. And it shockingly features Shoma, Hanto, and Rakia on the cover.
Yay, look at that. right back out of the demon zone.
Yep. It looks like that is coming out November 28th in Japan. So yeah, we'll see it sometime after that. Apparently the movie will focus on Hanto, and he'll get a new form based on chocolate parfait. In other gavv news, before we discuss Zets, they've announced an SH Figuarts action figure of Shoma himself. I don't know if you saw this, but there is going to be a figure not of him as Kamen Rider gavv, but just a figure of Shoma, just as Shoma.
Yep.
I'll send you a picture because it is hilarious if you have not seen it. It's a pretty good likeness. He's even got the like unzipping hoodie and everything on it.
Yeah, I forget who sent this to me, but yeah, it just looks like he just gets an action figure of himself, basically.
Yeah.
a very fancy, nicely posable, articulated points of articulation one. But yeah, it's just Shoma.
I looked at this because
it.
When I saw it, I was like, that's pretty cool. I kind of want that more than like a Kamen Rider figure. And I clicked on it. I was like, all right, I'll look at how much this is. $150 to pre-order this thing, which is an ungodly amount of money for an action figure.
I wonder if there's like different licensing to it because it's a human and not it's a real person versus like a generic figure in a red suit or something like that, or something weird like that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. The figure, of course, is based on Chinin's personal likeness. Shade says, I believe he's the first Reiwa protagonist to have a figure based on his likeness, and then gives a picture of some of the other, humans who've been made into action figures in Kamen Rider. One of them is Black Sun. Of course, we've watched that show. There's a couple from O's, unfortunately for you. Let's see I forget what they're called, but the like robot girls from 01 got figures, which is like their normal human likeness. So there's been a few, but they certainly don't do it every single season. So Shoma was special, I guess.
Shoma is special.
And then we get into the Zets news that Shade had for us. Of course, that's coming up next week. And we now know how Zets is going to air in the United States and around the world. Shout has announced that they'll be the distributor of Zets in the West. Shade says they released their own version of the trailer, which has slightly different music compared to the Japanese version. So I'm assuming that's probably just a licensing change. And for the occasion, the Kamen Rider Global account has also released an officially subbed version of the press conference, which is cool. But what they're going to do, according to Shout's schedule, is that the subbed episode of Zets will premiere around 2 hours after the original broadcast in Japan. So it'll be the fastest way to watch the show subbed. However, the streams are not going to be archived. So what they're going to do is new episodes will play 6 times, like throughout basically the weekend when they first first week, I guess, when they first air. Prior episodes will play before new episodes as the week goes on, and there will be mini marathons once more episodes have been released. So essentially, Saturdays at 7:30 Pacific time is when they're going to air in the States for the first time. And then there will be other times over the next few days where you'll be able to watch them. And then it seems like there's going to be a live stream that airs kind of 24/7 that's just going to like loop the episodes as time goes on. But there won't be a way, at least as of right now, to like sit down and on demand play any of the episodes.
They still hate us.
Shade says that took 2 steps forward, 1 step back. This obviously sucks, but there are reasons. One that I will explain. If you guys don't know, Toei isn't the only company that owns the rights for the Kamen Rider IP. There are many other companies involved, like Bandai and Ishinomori Productions, the Kamen Rider Creators Company. One of these companies is TV Asahi, which is like the network that Kamen Rider has been airing on for more than 20 years. And according to some internet strangers, this is a pretty similar to how online Kamen Rider broadcasts work in Japan. Allegedly, in Japan, you'll either have to pay for a streaming service like TTFC and Amazon Prime, or just watch the episode before they take it down. Since there aren't any paid streaming services for Kamen Rider in the West right now, we're stuck with the second option only. Shade says, do note that this is only speculation. There's no guarantee this is TV Asahi's doing. So for right now, it seems like the best thing Shout can do is to make a bunch of marathon streams. By the way, while everyone was arguing about this, official Ultraman Global retweeted Ultraman streaming platforms in North America and lists out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different platforms that you can watch Ultraman on. Which is fun, Shade. And then Shade says, also last time Josh wanted to know how Vietnam is getting Zets, and it is certainly extremely difficult, extremely different from how you guys are getting it. In Vietnam, we have a huge network called FPT. They buy a bunch of foreign broadcasting rights like anime, soccer games, etc. We'll be getting Zets on their streaming platform exactly 1 day after the original broadcast in Japan. Unlike Shout, the episode will be available on the platform at all times, but the catch here is that you'll have to pay to watch the newest episode as it comes out, or wait a couple weeks until it's free to watch. Luckily, my family's TV has a paid subscription for the platform. Thank God everyone's obsessed with soccer. So my streak of never paying for a streaming service won't be broken. That said, I'll probably watch Shout's release of Zets using a VPN anyways. All right, that's it for all we have for today. Kamen Rider Gavv was a blast to go through. I had a lot of fun. Cheers to another year of good common writing ahead of us. Thanks very much, Shade, for compiling all that awesome information. Especially great to get the producer's blog stuff here on the final episode. But yeah, that's where we're at with Zets, which, is kind of weird. But if it is truly like a licensing thing where one of the random companies who has a say in Kamen Rider is not allowing, it to be on demand, this is a reasonable way to do it, I guess, instead. Like it doesn't seem like it's going to be hard to find and watch each episode as it comes out, which is the goal, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's at least out there. It's out there enough in some way, shape, or form. If you want to try to do it the more legitimate way, if you're feeling a way about it, it definitely seems easier than the old days.
Yeah, it's goofy because, as everyone would guess, it's like the first that this airs, like the Saturday at 7:30, someone's just going to record it and then it's instantly going to be on every torrent site that you want it to be on. Like, it's, right? Like if you want to get it and get a copy of it forever, you're going to be able to right away. So it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you're making the the customers who are like doing the right thing jump through all the hoops. When it's if you want to not be a paying customer who's watching ads, it's going to be way easier.
Yep.
But it is what it is. At least we have this option available to us, and I'm frankly really excited to see what their translation and stuff is like, and see if it's good. But we'll find out
think
next
like
weekend.
we vaguely agreed or said, or however you want to word it. I'll do one shot of the super Americanized version, but I feel like the only way to be is just to watch the Japanese with the subs.
Well, it'll still be subbed in the Americanized version, so they're not doing a dub. But it'll be interesting to see if the sub is comparable.
I gotcha.
Yeah. It'll also be interesting to see if the subtitle groups that have been working on Kamen Rider continue to do so, or if they just stop because this is available now, or what that whole relationship is going to be like. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
I feel like that's a pride point where you wouldn't just quit because it's legit now. Like, if you've been doing this for years and years, I don't think that you would just go now like, oh, people can just watch it, fuck this, and just like stop. But who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. We've got a couple other emails here. The first one comes in from Jordan. Jordan has written in before to tell us some O's history. And this time, Jordan says, "Hey Josh, hey Toby, I'm back to talk to you guys about Gozyuger. This time it's about Horu's power-up Wild Gozyu Wolf, Fire Candle's corrupted ranger powers, Jado's Shinken Red, and the Gray-Eyed Man Ray. First, in order to talk about Wild Gozyu Wolf, we need to address the Orca Booster. According to Mashiro, it was during the Universe War, but was sealed away because nobody could control the power it would give. Now, during the present day, it would reawaken in response to Fire Candle's desire for power and to settle things with Horu, leading him to something into Super Shinken power up into Super Shinken Red. This would be pushed even further as it corrupted him like all those before, turning his ranger powers into a monstrous form, Jado Shinken Red, which I'll point out is the first monster in this season to actually grow giant instead of using a robot. Its design is based off the monsters from Shinkenger's season, the Gedoshu. After that, Horu steals the Orca Booster, overpowering its will with his own, creating the Wild Gozyu Wolf Ring and powering up for the first time. This form also gives him the Tegasword Akatsuki, which means Blood Moon, ring, allowing him to form, you guessed it, Tegasword Akatsuki. Next, let's talk about Rei Gushima. Rei Gushima is portrayed by Ryoma Baba, who previously portrayed Ryuki Iwasaki, or the Blue Buster, in Tokume Sentai Go Busters, a different Sentai. He's an old acquaintance of Rikuo Byakuya.
We're getting in the weeds.
And the man responsible for the disappearance of Oto Ichikawa. And beyond that, he currently possesses a black Sentai ring, which with an image of space on it. According to the wiki, there are sounds for a universe ring in the Tegasword. My theory is that the universe ring is to be given to the winner of the ring battle to have their wish granted, and Ray has somehow gotten his hands on it. Is that all clear now, Toby?
Absolutely.
And our final email comes in from Carl. If you remember Carl.
I definitely remember Carl.
Carl says, the final ride coming fast to a climactic finish. Hi, Toby and Josh. Hope you've been well. Just like Longo, I've decided to suddenly appear at the end. It feels just like yesterday that gavv started and I was emailing you all business ideas. It's hard to believe it came and went so fast. From you guys creating your first OnlyFans, to Bukkake surprise attacks from Shoma, to I want cum.mp3. I have no memory of that. It's been a wonderful time catching the show and listening to your podcast along the way. Before I get into the final business idea of the week, I want to share this cool Got Boost cover that I think Toby especially would enjoy. I'll share this link with Toby after this. But the first business idea that Carl sends us is Zetsi Industries. You and Toby make a new lifestyle brand called Zetsi Industries, transforming the ordinary into extraordinary with a Kamen Rider energy, making clothing, accessories, and more to henshin people into a life with confidence, style, and the spirit of a rider. Henshin your life. Make it Zetsu.
That one's pretty good. That one's
Yeah, it's not
definitely
bad.
pretty good. It's not overtly offensive. If you say it fast enough, you get the joke. Otherwise, people wouldn't know, so that works for that. There's a lot of good ideas here.
It's weird how it's not offensive. It seems like it should be. I feel taken aback that it's not. I kept waiting for the shoe to drop. That. And then Carl says, "I'm gonna greatly miss Gav. I think I think it's the first writers at the end. I never had those moments of I wish XYZ was different, or they didn't spend X episodes on Y plot. I hope to see more writer series done by this writer. It felt like they really cared about every little detail, and for me, puts Gav above Geets. Geets may have had higher highs, but Gav was so consistent that it left me feeling insanely satisfied at the end. If you all decide to continue the podcast into next year with Zets, which we definitely are, I wish you all the best. With Zets being pushed to simulcast and go globally, I hope you guys get the recognition you deserve to get picked up by the tailwind of the brand's expansion." Yeah, that's us, Toby. Always riding the coattails.
You know it.
But as Shoma moved on, it's time for this to be my last ride as well. Thanks all for the memories and wish you all the best. Quote, I hope it was as good for you as it was for me. Kamen Rider, Carl. So I guess Carl's retiring, Toby.
We had a good year. We had a good year.
Had a good year indeed. So that is our emails. Once again, cast@kamenridersucks.com is the email address if you want to send in emails. And of course, we do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/thecommentwriters is where you can find that. And man, the Patreon's fun, Toby. I really like the Patreon.
All sorts of shit.
All sorts of shit over there. It's a blast. First of all, we've got a Discord, and if you join the Patreon for $3 a month, you get access to the Discord, and we get to talk all week long. And there's always stuff going on in there. It's super fun. And you also get bonus content that we post. We watch old Kamen Rider. We watch Sentai, current Sentai, old Sentai. Right now, we're watching through Dawn Brothers and Goes Yuger. And we also post random things sometimes. We just did a GeoGuessr tournament between Toby and I, which was a ton of fun. We're going to have to do that one again. So if all that nonsense, getting additional nonsense from Toby and Josh sounds good to you, please check out patreon.com/thecommentwriters is where you find that. All right. That's going to do it for us for this week and for what we have. Toby, why don't you tell the people where they can find you?
On Twitter, it's Life of Tobe. On YouTube, it's Tobes Plays. And on Retro Achievements, it's Tobes Plays as well.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at meek.lol. And the show is on Blue Sky too. Hope you follow us there at kamenridersucks.com. And send in those emails. Definitely subscribe to the show. Leave a comment. Leave a review. Whatever the platform that you're listening on allows. All that helps us out for sure. And share it with a friend as we're getting ready to launch into a new season of Kamen Rider. Now is a great time to tell your friends about this weird Japanese show that you watch and this even weirder American podcast that you listen to about the weird Japanese show. So get a friend into Kamen Rider and get a friend into the Comment Writers. That'd be great. So we do hope you come back next time. If you sign up for the Patreon, we are planning to have a little bit of a watch along for the first airing of the show of Zets. So if you want to sign up and hop in for that, that might be kind of fun. But otherwise, we hope you join us back for the next episode talking about the first episode of Zets, and we will embark on a whole new adventure together. But until then, have a great week, everybody. Peace.